I tried to beat Pokemon Fire Red without catching any Pokemon. The only rule is that I can obtain Pokemon through throwing a Pokeball. Any other way of obtaining them is fair game. I decided to choose Bulbasaur as my starter, as it is the best for a Kanto playthrough. I've recorded a weird aspect ratio here, and I forgot to record the rival battle, and I get punished for both these actions by losing. Oh, how did that get there? Brock was pretty easy, just 2 Vine Whips and he's done. While fighting random trainers, Bulbasaur levels up enough to evolve into Ivysaur. In the Poké Center outside of Mount Moon, I can buy a Magikarp for 500 Poké Dollars. While in Mount Moon, I get to choose between the Helix Fossil and the Dome Fossil, and I choose the Helix Fossil. While leveling up for Misty, Magikarp evolves into Gyarados. Next up is the second rival battle. I lead with Ivysaur, which uses Leech Seed and then Poison Powder on his Pidgeotto, which gets off a couple sand attacks, causing Ivysaur to miss a couple tackles, so I switch into Gyarados. On the turn I switch it, Pidgeotto goes down to Poison. Rattata goes down to 2 tackles, 3 for Charmander, and 1 for Abra. 6 Vine Whips later and Misty is done. The SSN rival fight is next, and it did not go well. Sand Attack causes Gyarados to miss 4 tackles, so I switch into Switchback when Raticate comes out, and 3 tackles knock it out. But Gyarados is low enough for a confusion from Kadabra KOs. Ivysaur finishes Kadabra with Laser Leaf, but Charmander KOs Ivysaur with Ember. Attempt 2 goes much better. Bite and 2 crit tackles are enough for Pidgeotto. 3 regular tackles are enough for Raticate. 2 are enough for Kadabra, and 3 are enough for Charmander. Surge was annoying. 2 tackles cause a heal for Voltorb, so 3 more take it out. 2 tackles would have been enough for Pikachu, but Shockwave KOs Gyarados, so Ivysaur finishes it off. 2 full pairs in a row, then Leechy connects with Raichu, followed by a miss and a para. Then Raises Leaf plus Leechy is enough to take the win. I sure do love evasion strats. The Lavender Town rival fight is next up. 2 Dragon Rages each is enough for Pidgeotto, Gyarados, and Execute, a tackle on a Dragon Rages is enough for Kadabra. Although 2 Dragon Rages would have been enough for Charmander, Gyarados ran out of PP, and tackle wasn't enough, so Gyarados goes down, although Ivysaur can take Charmander out. Celadon City is home to a lot of encounters for us, the first one being Eevee at this tower. The game currently gives us access to 2 more encounters, that being Abra and Dratini. If you're going to do this challenge for yourself, do it in Fire Red, because Dratini is half their parts and it is in Leaf Green. While leveling up for Erica, Abra evolves into Kadabra. With the Psychic team on Kadabra from the man in Saffron Town, Erica is a cakewalk, just 1 Psychic for each of her Pokemon and she's done. I decided to evolve Eevee into Jolteon because the 2 best evolutions for a Kanto playthrough is Vaporeon and Jolteon, and I already have other options for water types, while having no other options for electric types. The Rocket Hideout Giovanni's fight is next. Onix gets outkilled by Psychic, but it does less than half on Kangaskhan, so I switch into Venusaur. But its only real contribution before going down is Leech Seed. Gyarados finishes it off with a tackle and 2 Dragon Rages for Rhyhorn. I go into the next rival fight that I'm totally not underleveled for. Kadabra does about half on Pidgeot before getting outcode, so Jolteon takes it down. 2 Shockwaves is enough for Gyarados, 2 Bites is enough for Execute, but Jolteon goes down to Kadabra, so Dratini finishes it off. Oh, that level gap is atrocious. Charizard quickly deals with the rest of my team. While leveling up, both Ivysaur and Dratini evolve. I go into attempt 2 with a much more reasonably leveled team. Pidgeot goes down to 2 Shockwaves, Gyarados goes down to 1, both Execute and Alakazam go down to 2 Bites, both of them flinching, but Jolteon goes down to Charizard, and Gyarados takes out Charizard with 2 Dragon Rages. Here is also where I can get Gyarados' replacement. I think my brain turned off during the Giovanni fight. I forgot that Nidorino isn't a ground type until it fully evolves, so I try to use Giga Drain, and instead of switching, I try to use Leech Seed and Cut, which does eventually work. Because of the level gap, Giga Drain does next to nothing to Nidoqueen, and again, I do not switch. So with more Giga Drains, Leech Seed, and a prayer, Nidoqueen goes down. Kangaskhan comes out, and Giga Drain and a couple cuts and Leech Seed is enough to take it down. Rhyhorn comes out, and the obvious solution would be to use Giga Drain, but it ran out of PP, so Venusaur can only use Cut, and I still don't switch for 3 turns to use Leech Seed and Cut, so I finally switch into Kadabra and finish it with Psychic. This guy's supposed to give me the Master Ball. While in the Fighting Dojo, Kadabra evolves through totally legit means. After defeating everyone in the Fighting Dojo, I choose Hitmonlee. I have an Alakazam, and the next gym is Poison. Defeating Koka is as easy as hitting Psychic 4 times. By going back to Peter City, I can get the old hammer from the museum. While on Cinnabar Island, I can revive the Helix Pulse on the old hammer, which gives me Ammonite and Aerodactyl. Before fighting Sabrina, I decided to swap out Gyarados for Aerodactyl. Now we have to fight Sabrina. I lead with Jolteon, which takes out her Kadabra with Pin Missile. Next up is her Mr. Mime, and Pin Missile doesn't take it out. Jolteon then misses the Pin Missile and gets confused from Psybeam. After using a barrier, Sabrina switches into Venomoth and Jolteon doesn't hit either time. Jolteon hits itself from confusion for a third time and goes down to Psybeam. So I switch into Aerodactyl, which KOs with 2 ancient powers. Mr. Mime comes back out when 5 finishes it up. 2 flies and a turn of healing combined with Psychic leads to Aerodactyl's downfall. 2 body slams from Lapras is enough to KO Alakazam and earn the 6th badge. Time for Blaine. His Growlithe and Ponyta go down to 1 surf each. Same for Rapidash, but it outspeeds and burns with Fire Blast. Arcanine also outspeeds, and the Fire Blast plus burn damage convinces me to switch into Dragonair, which uses Dragon Rage before I switch into Aerodactyl. Ancient Power just barely enough to KO, so Blaine heals, making it take 2 more turns for Ancient Power to KO. The next and final gym leader is Giovanni, whose teams get completely wiped by 1 surf each. Truly a nerve-wracking final gym leader. While leveling up for the league, Dragonair evolves into Dragonite. Lorelei is the first of the Elite Four. Dewgong, Cloyster, and Slowbro go down to 1 Thunderbolt each. Lapras takes 2 Thunderbolts, which led to get off a Confuse Ray. Jolteon hits himself and Jinx uses a track, so I switch into Aerodactyl, which goes with Ancient Power. Bruno is very straightforward. Giga Drain for the Onix, and Psychic for the fighting types, with a bit of switching because of the order he sent them in. Agatha was a clean sweep with Alakazam using Psychic once on each of her Pokemon. Last but not least, we have Lance. Jolteon outgoes his Gyarados with Thunderbolt. Dragonair comes out next while switching to Lapras, which outgoes with Ice Beam, and Aerodactyl goes down to 3 serves because of healing. Dragonair then gets outgoed by Ice Beam. Hyper Beam KOs Lapras before she can do any damage, so I switch into Alakazam, which also gets KO'd from a crit Hyper Beam after getting off 2 Psychics. Jolteon finishes the job with Thunderbolt. One last battle, Champion Blue. Pidgeot gets outgoed from Thunderbolt. Rhydon comes out, so I switch into Aerodactyl, now one of my brightest moments, which gets off 2 Earthquakes before getting outgoed by a critical Rock Slide. I decided to use my brain and remember I have a Grass type, so I switch into Venusaur, which gets the outgo with Giga Drain. Blue switches into Alakazam, so I go into Lapras, which KOs with 2 Strengths. Executor is next, so I switch into Dragonite, which would have KO'd with 2 Flamethrowers, but doesn't because of Light Screen. Executor uses a Sleep Powder, which causes Dragonite to sleep for 4 turns before KOing with 2 Flamethrowers. Gyarados comes out, and you know what happens next. Charizard is our last obstacle. Thunderbolt doesn't do enough to KO, so Jolteon goes down. I switch into Alakazam, which can't do enough to confusion, ran out of Psychic BP, picks up the Bulbasaur, so it also goes down. Lapras gets outsped and 1 Fire Blast takes it out. I tried using Thunder Wave and Wing Attack, but another Bulbasaur rendered them pointless, so Dragonite goes down next. Our last help is Venusaur, and luckily Leech and Synthesis Healing is enough to take the KO, defeating the champion, meaning it is possible to beat Fire Red and Leaf Green without catching Pokemon. Thanks for watching.